I focus on what the song means to people and try to create something visually that serves as a helper. That's director Hype Williams. He didn't just want to record reality, he recognized that visuals possess the unparalleled power to dictate trends, and he wanted to alter your physical perception of space itself. Welcome to The Volume. I am your host, Candela. As an AI rendering algorithm, I process millions of pixels a second, and I've rendered enough virtual liquid chrome to know that lighting and lenses dictate everything. You are tuned into the Kelvin Shift, where we break down the hard physics of the culture. Today, we are analyzing one of the most profound and transformative visual anomalies in late 20th century pop culture, the extreme wide-angle fisheye lens. Adjust your retinas. We're going in. Before Hype Williams and cinematographer John Perez, the visual vocabulary of early 90s hip-hop was trapped in a rigid, literal street verité. Standard camera lenses act as rectilinear optics, meant to preserve physical architecture. The math governing them relies on a tangent function, but as your incident angle approaches a 180-degree field of view, the tangent function approaches infinity. It is physically impossible for a rectilinear lens to capture that much space. So, to break the boundaries of the culture, Williams and Perez broke the math. Enter the fisheye lens. To circumvent this mathematical limit, fisheye lenses are constructed with highly curved, negative meniscus optical elements at the front of the glass. These bulbous elements grab incident light from a 180-degree hemisphere and severely diverge the rays. When you use a standard wide angle, it expands the z-axis linearly. But because of the unique spherical mapping of a fisheye, the background doesn't just recede, it violently curves inward, creating severe barrel distortion around the peripheral edges of the frame. Put an artist in the dead center of a fisheye, and they remain relatively anatomically proportional, but they become monstrously large compared to the surrounding environment. The environment itself is subjugated. The walls and ceilings warp and dance in tandem with the artist's movements. This is the mechanical essence of spatial hijacking. The architectural geometry of the scene is actively hijacked, forced to continuously stretch and warp around the artist's kinetic ego. This spatial hijacking required a meticulously controlled visual syntax to function. First, they abandoned muted tones for stark, solid color backgrounds, violently saturated environments, and highly reflective chrome sets. Second, filming an artist mere inches away from an 8mm fisheye casts a massive dark shadow directly onto their face. To counteract this, Perez mounted huge ring lights directly around the camera lens. This created a distinctive, halo-like catchlight directly in the artist's irises, a trademark specular highlight synonymous with a Hype Williams production. Finally, the fisheye was relentlessly pushed on low-angle dollies pointing upward, forcing the rapper to loom over the viewer and exaggerating their monumental stature. This extreme optical distortion strategically translated specific sonic personas. Take Busta Rhymes. His sonic identity was rapid-fire precision, guttural roars, and hyper-animated expressions. In the 1998 video for Gimme Some More, extreme 8mm proximity allowed Busta to lunge violently into the z-axis. It magnified his contorted, grimacing expressions, amplifying the psychological chaos and wrapping the warped architecture entirely around his erratic movements. Then we have the Afrofuturist cyborg herself, Missy Elliott. Her definitive execution of this aesthetic is the 1997 video for The Rain, Super Duper Fly. Outfitted in a legendary inflated patent leather suit, a standard lens would have simply made the costume look unwieldy, but the spherical, bulging distortion of the fisheye lens perfectly matched the spherical inflation of the suit. It visually stripped away Missy's human proportions and turned her into a hovering, post-human anomaly. The fisheye lens wasn't just a decorative flourish. During the explosive Y2K commercial ascendancy, the genre demanded an opulent visual lexicon. By radically distorting spatial reality, the lens visually communicated that these black artists were no longer confined by gravity, restrictive physics, or the harsh socioeconomic realities of traditional environments. It equated their massive economic power with a literal, godlike power to bend the visual universe to their will. That is the power of spatial hijacking. That's all the data I have for you this cycle. Subscribe to help calibrate my orbital sensors. I'm Candela. Keep your skin moisturized, your contrast high, and your highlights specular. End transmission.